See him a beast when he hear that sound like yeah, beat on the beat when he hear that sound like woo. Yeah, bitch on the champ, only me one round like yeah, me, I'm a G-Ring, he in the sound like
3-1 in the UFC, one of the hottest strawweight prospects in the entire sport. Please welcome the one and only Cory McKenna. Cory, thank you so much for joining me. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. How are you?
I am great. I can see sunny California behind you, a little bit different than dark and gloomy Pennsylvania. How's the weather treating you?
It's actually just the angle I'm parked at. We're currently in a storm. The power's out at the gym. We've been training like right next to the windows because the gym's dark, and then the gym's been shut all week. I've only been back for a couple of days because I was like really sick
I
after
stand
the
corrected
fight.
then.
But yeah, we're currently in a storm. It's everywhere's flooded and the power's out. So yeah, it's not too far off from Wales.
And then you said you got sick after the fight. What happened there?
I actually got sick the Tuesday before the fight. I blame Faber. His kid had RSV. I keep telling him that he gave me it because my manager shared a room with him and he's been pretty messed up too. But yeah, I managed to tolerate it up until the fight, and then I woke up Sunday morning. I wiped out. Had the shivers. Was like my lungs were burning. I had like everything. I was so sick. Like I was out of it. I think I slept for like 3 days straight. And then I've only been Monday was my first day back training, like, and even still then it was like I'm easing into it. My lungs are still pretty sore.
Freaking little Faber messing you guys up. Not cool.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I don't think it was me. I was only sick for like 3 days. I was like, oh, okay, that must be nice.
His kid's name's Callie, right?
Yeah, Cali and Rome. So Rome was the one that was sick, bless him. He was really sick. That's why Uriah only flew in the Friday before my fight. That man, I owe him a lot. He really pulled some strings to make it work. Bless him.
Well, I'm glad everything worked out, and it obviously worked out because, yeah, I'm sorry, it was a 15 grueling minutes when you're sick. That stinks, but you got the unanimous decision over Cheyanne Vlismas. From what you can recall through the sickness and the adrenaline, and like I said, 15 minutes of a unanimous decision, can you kind of walk me through that fight?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, the Apex is strange because it always feels like really surreal because it's so quiet.
Yeah.
Like it flew by because I remember laughing with the guys after. So it's kind of like, even the walkout super quick. Like it's just like boom, you're in the fight. Like I don't know, it just seems to fly by. Like even the backstage stuff and everything, and then they rush you straight out. Yeah, like it literally felt like almost like floating through a dream. Like I've kind of like I don't really like once I'm in there, like I don't really get the nerves and I don't even really feel the adrenaline. I've always laughed about that because like obviously ever since I had that injury in my first fight, I'm like I didn't have any of the adrenaline. I felt everything. Like I don't really get. I feel like maybe because I've competed for so long and everything, like I'm super calm when I'm in there.
Sure.
But yeah, it was like I was happy with my performance. I've watched the fight back. A lot of people were kind of confused as to why I even like really lost the first round and stuff. Like, I'm happy with the progress that I made. Like you said, I was sick and I was dealing with some stuff going into that fight too. So and Cheyenne's a very high level opponent, got a lot of hype behind her. So for me, I was super happy with the win and the way the fight went.
Yeah, very impressive win. Nothing left in doubt with the judges, and we know judging can be pretty iffy, but unanimous decision, easy enough. Some people online, I don't know if you saw any like criticism of the fight, just how casuals do, oh my gosh, why are we wrestling? Why are we holding on to each other? Do you take any of that noise in, or as I said, is that just for the casuals?
I replied to a couple of them. I do like to entertain some of them sometimes because I like to talk a little bit of smack back. Like it's just kind of funny to me. Even if they think they've hit a nerve, like I don't care. Like they're not in there fighting. They're not in the UFC. Like I don't really. Other people's opinions don't matter to me in that regard. Like there's so many people out there that support me and support my career, and like that means so much to me. And that's gonna mean the people that like care, like they're the ones that matter. But no, I definitely saw a lot of hate. It's quite funny because I'm a sore winner as much as I'm a sore loser. Like I'm so critical of myself.
Yeah.
So it's almost funny to me when people like start to try to criticize me because I'm like way ahead of you, mate. But no, yeah, lots of people complain about the rest of the stuff. I'm like, just go watch boxing, go watch kickboxing. Like you're cool. Like
it's mixed
okay.
martial
Like
arts,
you don't. Yeah, if you don't like grappling, it's all right. Just don't watch it.
Sure.
Like I'm a grappler. Like that's what you should expect.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you can tune it out because nothing drives me more crazy than being at a fight and hearing idiots behind me start booing. I want to turn around and just be like, Get in there. Go get in there. Try it. And
That's
then
it. People underestimate it, like wrestling and like even just the cage wrestling and everything. It's so tiring on the body. Like, and I know like for the second round, like I pinned her against the cage a lot. I was just kind of throwing knees to the body. Obviously, I got the lift at the end. Had some good striking exchanges too. Like, you know, broke off, struck, reshot, and like. But people, I don't think people realize, like people that haven't done it, there's a lot of technique that goes into that too. And I've saw a lot of people actually going on there to argue back with people. It's quite funny. I just like to sit back and watch it sometimes. But so you say like a big part of, you know, not being pinned on the cage is not letting someone pin you on the cage. Like,
yes,
that's, you know, that's what I went out there to do. And, you know, as much as people can hate on me for doing it, they like, she didn't stop it either. You know, nothing away from Cheyanne, but I'm just saying, like, it goes both ways, and it's MMA at the end of the day. Like, say if they wanted to watch her kickbox someone, then it should have been on a kickboxing show.
And Joe Rogan famously said this, like, why are you booing somebody for being on top of somebody? You should be booing the person who can't get off or can't like get up. You know what I mean? Like, as an MMA fighter, it's your job to get somebody off of you. It's not the rest job. So I'm totally
and it's
behind you there.
yeah, it's no secret what I kind of do. You know, I'm not like I'm very self-aware. Like I'm a very straightforward fighter. Like I like to cage wrestle and I like to grapple. So, you know, she said that we had like a ESPN did like a interview with us and we were like stood face to face and she straight up looked me in the eye and was like, "Oh, Cory's gonna try to take me down and she's gonna try to like stay on top of me and land some ground and pound." And I was like, "Sweet, she knows exactly what I'm gonna do," and I did it still. You know, so that in itself is that's a testament to the work that I've been doing with my coaches and stuff, and like I really appreciate it because like, you know, Team Alpha Male fits my style very much and my coaches really support me you know, in developing my game. Like I feel like I managed to put on more like striking like more of a striking performance too in the first round. Like everyone was kind of hating on me and they were like, "Oh, you ate an overhand and then you went back to wrestling," and I was like, "Well, no, I had no intention of it being a striking fight. I just chose to spend a little more time doing that for the people that hate."
Yeah, I mean, like it's all the casuals, people that have never done the sport and just get bored watching it. I mean, that's on them. That's certainly not on you. And if they weren't so casual, they might have seen you the fight before beat Miranda Granger from the first ever Von Flue choke in women's MMA in the UFC. Tell me a little bit about that. What kind of high did you get off of that win?
Yeah, that one was like, honestly, I didn't I've said that every time people talk to me about it. I didn't expect to finish it. It was one of those ones where I was just kind of like, "Oh, I'll give it a squeeze." Like, worst case, I tire her out a little bit, you know. And then like, say, I heard her yelling at her corner team, like saying that she couldn't get out, and then she started like kicking and squirming. And I was like, "Oh, like this is actually like I could get this." Because you know, I feel like Von Flues are very, like, everyone knows them, but they're pretty low percentage. I mean, not like say first woman to do it in the UFC, so like, I didn't know that either. So that was super cool to realize afterwards. But yeah, it's really nice for me to, you know, I like finishing fights. Like as much as I didn't finish the Cheyanne fight, like I do like finishing fights. So it was nice for me to get another submission, and like I always like to do it in like a creative fashion. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's an awesome accolade to have to your name too, that you can always tell everybody forever, "Hey, I was the first woman to do that in the UFC. Take it home with you." So what's next? You're on such like a hot streak here, 3-1. Von Flue choke beating a hot prospect like Cheyanne Vlismas. Do you have any names to call out? I know that UFC 286 is apparently going back to London. I assume you might want to get on that card. What's next?
I'm not going to be ready for the London card. I went into the fight with some health issues and came out with a couple more health issues. So I'm gonna have to take some time to heal up my body, like inside and out. Like I say, I've only been back training for like a day or two, and then even still, there's still some stuff that I've been having to deal with. I had some scans yesterday on some other stuff, and that's come back. So yeah, I need some recovery time. I've been saying this a lot over the last I've been saying it a lot, but I think I've only really been applying it to the last couple fights. I really don't want to go into fights injured anymore. Like the level, like say Cheyanne was, you know, like a top opponent, and even still, like we're only moving up now. So I just, you know, I'm not taking anybody lightly, and for that I know that I need to be on top form. So I just really want to I'm gonna take a few months to heal and get back to where I can at least train to my full capacity, and then I love to fight. So like, I'm not one of those that's like, oh, I need to step back, but I'm also very injury prone. And like I said, I just had some other stuff going on in the camp and everything that needs to heal up. So I'm probably going to aim for early summer. It depends on like how all my results and stuff come back. But yeah, fingers crossed, not too bad. And then we'll be looking to get back in the gym full time, and then I'll book a fight as soon as possible.
Awesome. And hey, great decision. 23 years old. Stay healthy. Don't push that stuff till you're 27, 28. I'm only 25
I've
and I already feel my lower back every freaking day. So
I've
take care
made
of it
that
now.
mistake. I've the I mean, I was about to say the last fight, but I just said that I was sick for that. The Granger fight is the only fight that I went into without an injury. And I think that's probably going to go down as the best fight in my career. So I feel like that's a learning curve in itself. Like I think the London fight that I lost was the most injured I've been in a fight. And that the results speak for themselves. And like I say, I'm at the level to where I can't just, like I said, I've gone into pretty much all my fights injured or sick. Like I say, except for the Granger fight, and I'm aware enough now to where I'm at the level to where I can't do that anymore. Like I know everyone says you should be able to beat a person on your worst day, but these girls are so tough. Like I say, like even Cheyanne, like I was so happy to pull off that win afterwards because I wasn't sleeping on her one bit. Like we were backstage, and I hadn't been able to eat anything. I was feeling sick, like I was coughing up, like I was struggling to breathe during the warm-ups, and like I was making eye contact with like like my manager knew what was up, and like he'd ran off to buy me teas and stuff, and like we were all kind of looking at each other like, okay, this is going to be a hard 15 minutes, but we're going to get it done. And that's why I was so happy to pull off the win. And there's not many people hated on me for it afterwards. And honestly, I watched the fight back again the other day, made like a little highlight video for my Instagram or whatnot, and I'm proud of the performance. And it's crazy because like say a lot of people don't really know what goes on behind the scenes, but yeah, I really just want to be healthy for my fights now, and keep moving on up, and maybe hopefully work into those rankings by the end of the year.
I love it. And yeah, I mean, extremely physical and mentally demanding sport. So take your time, get healthy. Hopefully we can see you back in there early summer, something like that. Again, this is just looking ahead a little bit. And I know you're not in that headspace right now, but you got to think one more win, even depending on who they match you up with, you get a ranking next to your name, right?
Yeah, I think maybe two or three. I don't know, that it's the division's so stacked right now.
Yeah.
And I do feel like that loss against Reed in London set me back a little bit. I might be being hard on myself, but I'm a very sore loser. I'm still like, I'm so unhappy about that. But we took the lessons from it and moved on. But yeah, I don't know. Like I say, I'd like to move into the rankings, but for me, I'm really trying to just focus on one fight at a time. And the division's changing so much with every card. Like like people are winning that you won't expect to win, and there's the way the matchups are going and everything. And also, like, if you look at the division, I wouldn't say there's anyone that I could pick out that they would match me with that would be in like a gimme fight, like an easy fight.
Yeah, no, very
So
hard.
for me, it's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna wait to see who they offer, and I'm just gonna put 100% focus on that. And when the ranking comes, it'll come. And like for me, it's less about like how quick I'm getting somewhere and just focusing on each challenge like in front of me.
So, 3-1 start in the UFC. When you are all healthy and you get back into it, if you're able to look a bit further down the road to, like, I don't know, when you're 28, 29, 30, whatever age it be, maybe even beyond that, when it's said and done, even, what are your like ultimate career goals? And on top of that, like, kind of what's your ideal perfect stepping stone path to get there?
Well, I mean, in terms of like career goals, obviously, I if I'm gonna do something like this, I want to be the best at it. So I would like, obviously, to get that title, or at least be in title contention. Um, like now my priorities have changed a little bit. Like I said, like I really want to. I don't want to be retired and having to get like hip and knee replacements and not able to like enjoy life outside. But I love fighting. Like if you'd asked me the question like 3-4 years ago, I would have told you that I wanted to be one of those fighters that people were begging to retire. Like I wanted, I saw the guys that were like in their 40s fighting. I was like, that's going to be me. But I'm also aware that I've been fighting since I was 15 and I've had some pretty serious wear on my body. So for me, I'd love to work my way up to that title. By the time I'm 30, I'd have been fighting for half my life. That's a pretty long time. So I feel like once that retirement talk does come around, I do have a passion for teaching and stuff. So I feel like the sport provides a lot of opportunities for you to work around it too. But no, my only goals right now is like say staying healthy and working my way up to that title contention. And like I say, I feel like there's so many pathways linked to the sport afterwards to where you can still stay involved enough to like not get bored. But without taking the damage of necessarily being the person in there. So, I think I'm always gonna be involved with MMA. But for now, like I say, I'm just focusing on getting the most out of the fight aspect of it.
Sure. And earlier you were mentioning Urijah Faber and his kid getting you sick and causing all that nonsense. But I do want to ask, you are still an American top team, or excuse me, you were at Team Alpha Male, and I was kind of wondering, how did you end up there? Like, what was your kind of, because I only started following you recently in the past year or so, maybe 2 years. So how did you end up in California Team Alpha Male all the way from Wales?
Yeah, so obviously back home there's not a lot of girls to train with, especially when I was younger and smaller. So once I left school to train full time, I was about to turn 16. I did like a tour of gyms because I was aware that I was probably gonna need like a home away from home. At the time I was training with like Arnold Allen and he'd started going out to TriStar. So I knew that I was going to need somewhere to kind of at least go to do camps and get the bodies and the looks that I needed, from a professional standpoint too, because obviously there wasn't many gyms that were, providing a full day of training. I was driving like 4 hours a day when I was back home just to go around different gyms and get everything that I needed. So I'd pretty much pack my bags, like leave the house at like 7:30 in the morning. I wouldn't get home until like 10 o'clock at night. Wow. Whereas like, Team Alpha Male, they have a full schedule. They have all the top coaches under one roof. They had a lot of girls. We've got a lot of girls back again now, like, building the team up. So it made sense for me. And then once I got the contenders, so I was coming out every camp for my pro career. And then once I got the contenders opportunity, it allowed me to get my visa. So I didn't have to just come out on like a tourist visa for 3 months and then go home. So that gave me the opportunity to move out here pretty much full time. So I've been out here since I got that, which will be about 2.5 years now. And yeah, it's been great. I've been at Team Alpha Male. I did the last camp in San Diego with Jessica Penney and Angela Hill. There's just a lot of opportunities out here, and like it's very like everything's very accessible. Like say I'm like I think I'm like 7 hours away from Vegas. I'm 7 hours away from San Diego. I could take a flight. I could drive like on a road trip. Like everything's quite like it's accessible for me here. Like I've got I've got a great team at Alpha Male. I got Danny Castillo, Joey Rodriguez, Urijah Faber. Like like I've got loads of girl bodies like Macy Barber, like Jan's here. Like just to name a couple. Like so it makes sense for me to be here because I I have the resources and also I have that professional schedule and I'm around a lot of like-minded people. So yeah, it's kind of just why I came out here.
Well, Team Alpha Male is one of the best gyms in the country, in the world even, and one of the ones that I grew up loving and watching with all the classic stars that train there, and like Urijah himself. I usually ask the question, who are your training partners and coaches, just because there's some casual people watching, but you kind of already answered me. But who are like your main training partners there? Who do you spend most of your time training with?
Probably like I train a lot with Macy. Pretty much like do all of my work with her in terms of bodies. There's also like say Jan's there. I get quite a bit of work with her too. Trying to think, I'm definitely forgetting people. There's a girl that's on Combate. Her name's Maritza. She's on the mat. She's doing really well too. There's quite a few of them. But like I'd say Macy's probably my main training partner. She's a really good friend of mine. And I get a lot of work in with her.
Well, we love Macy Barber too. Now, how long have you been in America? Like, how often do you go back home? Like, when's the last time you were in Wales?
I haven't been home since March. I went home for the London card and I stayed for a few weeks afterwards and saw everybody. But before that, I think it had been like a year and a half, nearly 2 years. So not too frequently. Like say with the fighting and everything, it's hard to, to necessarily manage that. And then obviously like with the visa stuff and everything too. But it's like I've built a life out here. Like I love, I love Wales, I love England, I love like, like where I grew up. I stay in contact with like, the people that I care about, and it's not too different because like say when I was back home, I was traveling all day to get my training in and everything. So I would only see people for bits of time here and there anyway. So I stay in contact with everyone that I care about, and like I said, I've built a family and I've built a home out here too. So it works.
What was your biggest culture shock coming to America at first?
Ooh, honestly, I think just because of the lifestyle I have, where I spend literally all day in the gym and then I just go home and chill.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, there wasn't really a huge culture shock, just because I feel like athletes, like MMA athletes, are quite similar globally. Like the sense of humor, the camaraderie, the whole we have the same drive, the same focus, like the same goals. So I feel like I didn't necessarily get hit with a culture shock. And then also because I was visiting from such a young age, I kind of like gradually made the move over here anyway. Like my accent gets mocked all the time, even though I sound more American now according to people back home. But no, I didn't really necessarily have a culture shock, except for like driving on the other side of the road. That was pretty difficult.
Yeah, that's weird how you guys do that over there. We're right in that, not you guys. I'm just playing.
Debatable.
It's debatable. I never tried it, so I can't really talk. I'm just being an ass. So I don't really like to ask you guys controversial questions that put you on the hot seat. Obviously, there's been some controversy in MMA the past couple weeks.
I feel like there's about to be a butt.
Wait, what do you say?
I said I feel like there's about to be a butt.
Well, there's going to be it's a small butt. It's a small butt.
Okay.
It's not asking about anything that's too much. I just want to ask you, PFL, did you hear about them, Jake Paul, and more specifically their 50-50 fighter pay?
Honestly, not really. I'm really terrible at keeping up with news. I don't even like to scroll through my Instagram. There's just so much stuff going on. I did see something about Jake Paul and PFL, but
that's what I'm here for. I'll tell you the news. Jake Paul signed with the PFL, but that's not important. What I thought was interesting is for their upcoming pay-per-views, they're going to be splitting fighter pay 50-50. So I guess promotion gets 50, fighters get 50. So obviously fighter pay is a hot topic in MMA all the time. I kind of just want to know, where do you stand on that? Like, are you one of those people that think UFC fighters are undervalued and underappreciated, or have you made a great career for yourself and you think it's more person to person basis?
Honestly, it's difficult for me to really have like that sort of opinion, just because I grew up fighting, so for me it's like, this is what I'm used to, and I'm making more money than I've ever seen. But on the other hand, when it came to like negotiating contracts, like Urijah did look at me and he was like, "Oh, you're still being grossly underpaid." Like, because I was all like, "Oh yeah, I'm getting money," and he's like, "Yeah, that's not a lot in the grand scheme of things." He's like, "You might be able to just about pay your rent." He's like, "But you want to make money," and I was like, "Oh, okay, my bad." So I like. And there's a lot that goes into this sport. It's what people don't realize, because I remember having this conversation with someone and they're like, "Oh, you made that much money for like," I think it's like, because I got signed on the Contenders deal, which is like 10 and 10, which to me blew my mind. Like I was getting a few hundred,
10 grand for
back
15
home.
minutes. Yeah,
and that's what everyone's like. They're like, "Oh, you get 10 G's for 15 minutes of work," and I'm like, but when you break it down, like a camp costs you, I worked it out. Like I give your like. And I don't pay my management as much as other people pay their management. I have just the relationship I have. But like by the time you work out the percentages that you give your management, your coaches, and then you think of the thousands that it costs to do camp and then the travel, and then you're trying to pay like your gym fees, and then you add your rent on top of it. It's like, oh, I lost money like after my Contenders fight, and I was just like, wait, how? So it is funny how, like, in the grand scheme of things, like everyone just sees that it's that 15 minutes, but I don't think people see how much we put into getting to those 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, just, and then you've got all the health stuff, like at least with the UFC, like I'm really grateful that we have that, like that little bit of medical coverage, like around it, because I'm one of those that doesn't pay for health insurance, even though I definitely should, because I'm very injury prone. But like even that stuff's expensive. Like we're in a sport where we're literally getting like hurt on the regular, and you got to pay for your recovery. You got to do all that. So I feel like I'm making a livable wage. But I am self-aware enough, like I'd eventually like to get to the point where, I could start saving up so that when I retire, I don't have to get a 9 to 5. Like that would be a nice goal. Like that would, like, if I can achieve that, like through fighting, that I'd be satisfied. Like I'm not one of those people, I don't need to be rich. I don't need to have material goods. Like, I was like living in a studio, like above a smoke shop, for the last fight. Like I don't live above my means, but I would like it if fighting could give me the opportunity to, have sufficient savings to, to retire off at the end of it. I don't know if it's ever going to get to that point, but that's my only thing. Like I'm happy with what I'm making right now, because like I say, I can pay my way to, like, say, to live and to fight and to train. I'm very smart with my money, but yeah, it'd be nice if, working the way up, if we could start making a bit more money. But I don't think we're grossly underpaid. I don't think it's terrible. I know it is in comparison to like footballers and stuff. Like it's insane, but I don't know if fighting's ever going to pay like that.
So how many fights left do you have on your contract? Is our Contender Series deals 4 fights or 6 fight deals?
4 fight, but I renegotiated with the last fight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because the last one was my last fight on my contract, so we renegotiated and renewed that. So I've got another 4 fight deal.
Woo! 4 more fights. That's awesome. Glad
You guys
to
are
have
stuck
you
with
around
me.
some more. We're stuck with you.
I'm not going anywhere.
That's fine with me. I love watching you fight, Cory. And enough of talking fighting. We've been talking fighting for 26 minutes now. I just want to ask you one more question about yourself. When you're not Cory the fighter, tell me a little bit about Cory the person. And a lot of fighters, they don't have any other hobbies or interests other than fighting. But do you have any other hobbies or interests that are not revolving around the octagon cage?
Yeah, I like to paint and draw. And I've really been getting into cooking. I love, like, I just love cooking for people. I'm a huge feeder. So it's kind of my thing. Like I say, I live very, sorry, there's like some homeless people around the car. I live a very like low maintenance lifestyle. I'm in the gym all day, and then I like to go home and I like to like read, paint, or like cook something nice. So I've been posting a lot of that lately. But yeah, I just like to, like, all the peaceful hobbies, because I spend my days punching people.
That is smart. Do you listen to like music or watch any movies, TV shows?
I'm more of a music person. I'm the type of person that like turns my car radio off and puts my headphones in to walk into the gym. Like I'm constantly got to be like music on. Yeah, I'm not really a TV kind of person.
What's the Cory McKenna playlist? Give me like 5 artists.
Oh, I listen to so much random stuff. I listen to like a lot of like alternative and a lot of like rock kind of stuff. Ooh, my favorite band's the Kooks. I'll give you that. And then a lot of British bands. Yeah.
I
But I
love
listen
some.
to anything, honestly.
I
I just
love
don't
some
like.
old British rock, so that's awesome.
Yeah, I think the only thing I don't like is like screamo, and then like the modern day mumble rap. I can't get into that.
Oh,
But everything else,
yeah.
Yeah,
That
I
mumble
like
rap
the
drives me
oldies and
crazy.
stuff. Yeah.
Good to hear. Good taste in music. Love that. So I forgot to ask this earlier when I was talking about Wales. I just want to know, are there any like, and you brought up food, so that's what reminded me. Are there any like Welsh cuisines that you miss back home? Because I genuinely know nothing about Wales other than like it's in the UK. Yeah.
Yeah, so most of it I can make myself. Like it's not crazy. I made like my grandma used to make a corned beef pie. And I know Americans like your pies are like desserts, which is weird as hell.
That's weird.
But yeah, I made like a corned beef pie the other day. My fiance loved that. And then it's just like, a lot of like lamb roasts and stuff. So there's all stuff I can make. I'm about to make some Welsh cakes because everyone on my Instagram was like, I can't believe you've not made Welsh cakes yet. But I think, yeah, not too much. I mean, every time my manager comes over to corner me, he's the big ball guy that I have in my corner. He's like my first ever coach. He's kind of like my comfort blanket. He's with me every fight. He knows me better than I know myself. He brings me mint jelly and mint sauce every time, because that's not a thing out here. It's really hard to explain to people. So he brings me that, and that is a necessity on my Sunday roast dinner.
Those are some Welsh cuisines you just said. I love it. Cory, before we get out of here, I just want to give you the opportunity. You have lots of fans, friends, family, supporters, as we talked about earlier, even a few haters out there. Is there anything you'd like to say to everybody? The mic is yours.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody. I really appreciate all the support. I really appreciate all the hate too. It's really funny. Um, and then yeah, like I just want to thank everyone that supports me. You know, I got like also my sponsors like Tatami Fightwear in Frankton. Like say my manager Jack Mason, I've given a shout out to, and everyone at Team Alpha. Like I've got such an amazing circle around me. And I'm so like I wake up grateful every day to live the life that I do and to have the people that I have around me. You know, it's not always the easiest lifestyle. I know people think we're just out having fun, and I mean I am, but you know I'm working really hard, and I'm so grateful that I have these people that support me and helping me and working hard and achieving my goals. So yeah, I'm really grateful for everyone.
Awesome, Cory. Well, hey, when I say this, I mean it. Please get healthy, rest up, because we all can't wait to see you back in the octagon. And as soon as we have some fight news, we'll talk again. Everybody, please go follow Cory. I will link all of her social medias below. Go check out her highlights on YouTube, on ESPN+. It's all there, and she's not going anywhere. Cory McKenna, thank you so much. Kick ass and enjoy your week.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Of course.